2 days before this event, I wanted to call Sophia and say, you know what, I want to do it. You know, I thought to myself, say, what are you going to say? What are you going to talk about? I even got encouraged, really, great encouragement. One day ago, I met this Iranian amazing friend who owns a shop. And I told him, he told me like, I told him, you know what, I'm having this talk. And would you like to come? And he gave me a great encouragement. He had on my shoulder and said, nobody's getting this. Thank you so much, that was really needed. He reminded me with my father. When I told him that I want to work in such things, he told me, I could get a real job, lay bricks. Okay. But really, is anybody listening? I always question myself about who are we. But the reason really I didn't want to do this, because lately it became hard on me. And I'm pretty sure, and I think I discussed this with Yahya before, it really became hard speaking about people. Really. It really became hard. And I cannot not to speak about them. Yara Salam. She's a human rights researcher in the Egyptian Initiative for Personal Rights. Her face haunts me every day. She's in prison. No cause. For no reason. Sanaa Seif. Why is a 23 or 24 years old girl like her be in prison? Anybody talking about it? Anybody listening? Both of them, while they're waiting for the court hearing, which keeps on imprisoning them, both of them are on hunger strike. If I can talk about something about the judicial system in Egypt, this is the greatest example of all time. Now, in this picture, we have a group of people that I would like to introduce. This is Mohamed, that I spoke about before. This is Tahir Mukhtar, who's the head of the medical team of the Refugee Solidarity Movement. An amazing person who's been dedicating more than 1 year of his life. He's a doctor, he goes around police stations, curing and seeing the medical conditions of refugees for free. Because some organizations that take millions of dollars don't do that. So what happened is that there was a protest in Alexandria, and it was a stand-up for during Khalid Said case. And it's a long story about Khalid Said. It's one of the people who actually reasons for the Egyptian revolution, because he was tortured till death by the police. And anyways, what happened is that this policeman beat Tahir till he got stitches and he started bleeding. See, the funny thing is that we never know what happened to this guy, but we know that this fine lady here, Lu'ay al-Ahwali, and Omar Khazif, and a guy called Islam Hassanin, who wasn't even in the scene, were put in prison and sentenced for 2 years for protesting. Which is funny, because the reason that there is a new president in Egypt right now, Abdelfattah, was because of a protest. Was because of massive marching and protest. But when he became in power, they issued a law saying, oh, you have to take a permission from the police in order for you to protest. Mohamed was stayed in prison for 6 months, and her appeal was accepted, and she just got out. She's on hunger strike for the people in prison on hunger strike. Now this guy is interesting. His name is Alaa Abdelfattah. Practically speaking, Alaa was put in prison in every single regime. During Mubarak, he was put in prison. When the revolution happened and the Supreme Council of the military ruled Egypt, he was put in prison. When Morsi was elected, he was put in prison. And during the military rule, after Mubarak, he was not able to witness the birth of his first child, which he decided that he's going to have after the revolution, because he thought that now Egypt will be better. And now during Abdelfattah Sisi, he's in prison. And guess what? He didn't witness when his father died. He and his younger sister. He is the brother of Salam. Both of them are in prison right now. Both of them are on hunger strike. Why? For protesting. That's Alaa and his child, while he's in prison school, closed. This is Mohamed Soltan, who is for more than 285 days on hunger strike. And he is dying. He is dying. What is his crime? That he's the son of a famous Muslim Brotherhood leader. He is dying, really. We post every day pictures of Mohamed Soltan, that he's in more like 300 days, or almost 300 days on hunger strike. You see, what's interesting, that's Mohamed Soltan. Even when he got sick, they handcuffed him in the hospital. And I figured out that nowadays I live with pictures. This is how hard this field can be. I live with pictures of these people. You see, I just want you to forget anything that I just said earlier. I sometimes want to ask myself why I'm doing this. And a lot of people that I meet, sometimes they say, you know what, I don't know what to do. I don't know what should I do in this life. I don't know what's the purpose of it. I don't know to really know. But I'm trying to know. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and always I have this question in my mind. Is it worth it? Is it worth it not being in my country, seeing my family, seeing my mother? Because when I call her, she has this amazing voice that she wants to cry, but she wants to show me strength. Or should I be with my father, who's really sick? I didn't witness my two sisters, who both of them gave birth to beautiful, beautiful babies. And I ask myself every day in the morning, is it worth it? Is anybody listening, you know? And as much surprising as it may be, no, it's not. There's nothing worth not being with people you love, not being with your country, in your country, not being with your friends. But then I ask myself, but if I'm not doing this? What if I'm not talking about this? Because, you see, history will always mention my opinion. Some people may disagree. But people will mention people like Rihanna. People will mention people like Alaa. History will mention people like Sanaa. History will mention people like Mohamed. They will actually mention people like Sisi and Morsi and other dictators, telling them they're bloody and stuff like that. But in order for history to be recognized in these people, somebody has to be telling the story. And I want to tell this story. And all of you can do something. This is what I believe in. If this is the only thing that I came here to say, will be this. All of you can do something. People like me will envy you. I mean, you are in your university. You can have an idiot like me speaking all these kind of things. We don't have this in Egypt. We have a student who was recently arrested because he's having a copy of George Orwell, 1984.
Sorry, because I didn't get what's happening.
Which is really funny. I mean, I bet all animals now going to George Orwell's grave saying, why did you write Animal Farm? A guy is arrested because of having a copy of 1984. Because this is against dictatorship, against the mandate, against police, state security. But you people are privileged. write what you want, you can say what you want. And at some point in my life, I thought human rights is not a national thing. And if we're going to talk about human rights, refugees issue as a national thing, we're not going to go anywhere. We're not going to go anywhere. If somebody like Mohamed is killed in Iran, he's killing a rapist while he's raping her. Trust me, things will go around. If you are silenced about oppression somewhere in the world, it will turn around. And when it happens at your country, at your place, you'll not find people speaking alone, or you will find. So if you want to do something, if you want to write, it doesn't have to be something big. It doesn't have to be something massive. I don't want to make it change. I want to end poverty. Of course, I'm not going to be able to end poverty. But at least you try. People would tell you, you're worthless. You're not going to be able to do anything. But you will never arrive somewhere without starting. This is what been happening to me. People say, nobody's going to listen. You're wasting your time. Nothing will be changing. Keeps on crushing you to break you to pieces. But then you have to rise up. As much sorrow that you have so much in your shoulders, they cannot bear it anymore. You need to be speaking about people, because it's lives that we're speaking about. Those people in prisons are lives. Those people on hunger strike, they are lives. Those people risking their lives in the sea, they are lives. And you have all of that in your shoulders. Really, you have all that in your shoulders. And you have this sorrow, and it's really hard for me to be speaking about Mahmoud. It's really hard for me to be speaking about Yara. It's really hard for Yahya sitting there hearing about Yara, because he knows her personally. But we have to. Because you have to rise up, look at the people in the eyes who doesn't believe in you, or saying that nothing will be changing, and say, you haven't seen nothing yet.